I'm Ray Shaffer with Broad Arrow in Hagerty. After 25 years of working with Porsche, well, I tend to look at things, and have, with Porsche through those glasses. So when I wanted to learn more about what makes a RUF car special, well, there's a lot to learn about that. So I'm here at RUF North America, where their alphabet starts with the letter B, not A.
Hi, I'm Esteban Larranaga, the account executive here at RUF North America. And today, it's an honor to have Ray to go ahead and present to him and to you why our alphabet starts with a B. You see, RUF as a manufacturer has had many records throughout automotive history. And with a presentation of one of each of our generational vehicles, we're going to go over what makes each one special and help you guys understand the history of RUF.
Esteban, great to see you.
Mr. Ray, it is a pleasure to host you here.
Thank you for having me. Esteban, to really understand the book of RUF here at RUF North America, what are the chapters that I would focus on to help me understand how we got to where we are today?
So where we are today, there's many chapters of our manufacturing history. But as with any good book and any good storyline, there's always a prologue. And the prologue itself has chapters within it. So you have our repair shop chapter, you have our tuning chapter, and in that tuning chapter, once you take it so far of re-engineering to the point where you're engineering from scratch, you're manufacturing. And that's where that manufacturing chapter starts and begins with all of the models that you see here today. And so what Alois would do, what we did at RUF, is we engineered our own vehicle based on a body in white that Porsche would give us, just the shell. We would stamp our VIN to it, and we would develop our own vehicle out of it.
This is the famous W09 that I always see in our auctions.
He just wanted to take it further, and he wanted to make them perform the way that he believed was actual perfection of performance. And so with that, he developed upgrades for these sorts of cars, tuned them, and eventually did so much to them that we became a manufacturer. Our nomenclature might get confusing to some, but you know, as you said, our alphabet does start indeed with a B. And when you think about the names and the nomenclature of all of our models tie back to it being turbocharged or non-turbocharged, and they always signify an era. Since this car was developed in that Group B era, it was made with that Group B regulation mindset, hence BTR, Group B Turbo RUF. It was groundbreaking, not only because it was the world's fastest car, but it was the first time that this silhouette had been really seen with 17-inch wheels, with a 5-speed transmission, which this car has. It has a dogleg 5-speed that we developed.
Turbocharged 5-speed.
A turbocharged 5-speed. As we go on through our history, you get to really appreciate the benchmark that we set for the sort of engineering and manufacturing that we did as we carried on into the future.
Okay, so if we started at the letter B in your alphabet, that brings us to C, the CTR. Better known as the Yellowbird.
Yes.
It's how I became familiar with RUF because of that cover of Road and Track magazine from 1987. It seems to have only grown from there.
Yeah, it has. What's really remarkable about the CTR is, yes, it stands for Group C Turbo RUF. It had the ignition system from a 962, it had the brakes from a 962, and it was a twin turbocharged flat 6 3.4 liter engine that propelled us to 211 miles an hour. We've always been at a forefront engineering-wise, right? Our first model had the 5 and 6 speeds ahead of everybody else. This one had a twin intercooler setup that hadn't been seen before, right? As opposed to that top intercooler with a single turbo, we had twin turbos and a 3.4 with the intercoolers tucked on the side. And so I think that this car is definitely one of those crown jewels because it is that icon. It's the car that put us on the map, but it's also a really, really amazing sign as to if this is this early in our manufacturing history, imagine what else we were able to make. I think that's how this fanaticism in this world of RUF really continues to grow.
Yeah, those restless engineers, they've never been settled down, have they?
No, not at all. You know, it's really remarkable what we're able to do being such a small brand and being that customer focused too. And you can see that with our modern vehicles as time goes on with all the unique features.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the future for these cars, as far as collectibles are concerned, the differences in the cars that you can find as a collector, what you can seek out.
Yeah.
And there isn't any one book anywhere that tells you what each individual car is exactly like, is it?
Yeah.
Just when I think I'm starting to understand your alphabet and what should be the car that starts with the letter D, we're at the RCT.
Yes.
Change nomenclature.
This is what Alois believed to be the perfect Carrera, the RUF Carrera Turbo. This is where you started to really see that introduction of the option of the integrated roll cage technology. I truly believe these are great all-around vehicles. Even though it's a single turbo with 425 horsepower now that it has the Evo package, it's still super linear. Our fuel injection system that we were using at the time allowed it to be a very linear experience, and that's why I think that this is a great first RUF to own as well. And it's an amazing all-arounder.
You mentioned that the RCT is a great first RUF for a lot of people interested in the RUF brand. What makes it such a great first Porsche? And really, who is someone that is if there is a typical Ruf customer or collector, how would you describe them?
So the connoisseur that owns these sorts of cars is someone that's already experienced that sort of excellence in engineering from Porsche, and they want to know what else is there. What is that next level? It's this. We created what we believe to be the absolute best possible culmination of engineering that you can put into this body. It's really a sign of all of our knowledge and all of our history of being a tuner, a manufacturer, and just knowing this platform so well, translated into one of our own production vehicles.
Would think we're going to move through the alphabet, but we don't. We actually go backwards. We're going
Yes.
back to CTR and BTR, but that going backwards actually takes us forward.
Yes.
Why?
We're going back to our roots. How do you follow up an icon?
Tough act to follow.
It's a tough act to follow, right? But luckily with the CTR2, we have something astonishing here. When it came out, it was also the world's fastest production car. We had this newer fuel injection system. It's no longer a Motronic, it's a Tagtronic. Pinnacle cars have that fuel injection system. When you think about it, the only other car that beat this car also had the Tagtronic fuel injection system, and that was the McLaren F1.
Wow.
And so you have to pay credit where credit is due, right? That's an amazing vehicle, but so is this. There was a gentleman by the name of Steve Bedore that had one of these. The astonishing part about the CTR2 is that his car, 70% of the races that he entered in with that car, he podiumed. That's what this is, and it was a street car. And then moving to the BTR2 behind you, you see something that we created with the 993, also based on a 3.6, also with a single turbo, similar to what the RCT was, but with a very different characteristic. It had that sort of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde feel of smacking you in the face with boost. And this car does that. A fully optioned roof came with integrated roll cage, came with the shaved rain rails, came with no sunroof. This car actually still has rain rails on it. It doesn't have the integrated roll cage. It actually has these little A-pillar fillers, but this car was made to look similar and kind of fly under the radar for the original owner of this BTR2. You know, it's something that we're not strangers to. There's no roof that's the same. They're all bespoke, they're all unique, and that's what also makes us very special. So with the introduction of water-cooled technology came this, the RGT. This is one of those rare moments where Ruf develops a naturally aspirated car. The historical significance of this is not only was it that groundbreaking moment of air-cooled to water-cooled, the RGT was the first Ruf to be entered into the US as a production car with no need for homologation or anything like that.
At the time, Porsche had already switched over to fly-by-wire on their GT3s, and this is one of those cars where you still have an actual cable throttle matched to the throttle body. It's extremely high revving. It just makes it that ultimate water-cooled driving feel. This car is the best iteration of what a 996 should have been. We redesigned a custom rear deck lid. It allowed for the engine bay to cool down a lot because this was a car that would be very high-strung in the sense that you don't get this car to stay at 4,000 RPM. You get the car to hear it sing.
Esteban, we started by talking about the alphabet. We started with B, and we went to C.
And then we didn't go to D.
No, we didn't.
And then we went back.
Then we went back. And then we talked about CTR2s, so
Yes.
we brought in some numbers there. But now we're standing in front of an RT12
Yes.
S. You've got
Yes.
some explaining to do.
Yeah, so with the RT12, it stands for Ruf Turbo 12. It's the 12th turbo model we made. When we introduced the RT12 in the beginning, the 997 turbo per se didn't exist.
That's right.
It wasn't a thing. And what we had was a 650 horsepower monster of a vehicle with 50% more horsepower than what was out at the time, which was a 996 turbo. You know, and then later on we developed this, which was the RT12S, which bumped up the power to 685 horsepower. Back then we would get that body in white, put our VIN, and then develop a vehicle out of it. This is one of those final opportunities because later on, with the 991 and further, we don't have 992 body in whites.
It looks like Ruf has had the chance to make their own masterpiece.
Yeah, this is definitely the culmination of all of our generations before worth of engineering, manufacturing, testing, tuning, and putting everything together to finally create our own vehicle. It's the only carbon tub monocoque vehicle in the market that has a rear engine and manual transmission. The CTR anniversary is the future of Ruf in the sense that because there's no more bodies in white, we will be developing all of our rear engine cars with this carbon tub platform. And it's a twin turbo, 710 horsepower, 7-speed manual vehicle that weighs 1,300 kilos. You move on to what the SCR is, we bring back that naturally aspirated power plant and we put it together to make this a 510 horsepower, 4-liter flat 6 made it to a 6-speed transmission. In addition to it being a full ground-up vehicle that we developed, that means that this engine is completely machined and milled in-house. As far as production numbers are concerned, I mean, these cars are still going to be exceptionally rare. You know, this one we're making 70, the CTR Anniversary we're making 50. Both of them are, you know, spoken for already, and that's—
We're talking about global numbers here.
Global numbers, yes.
Okay.
And when you talk about global numbers for all of our cars, Ray, I think that that's where collectors and individuals that value rarity, it becomes a language that they speak, because when you look at all of our generations, as we look down that line, not a single one of them has been made where our production number was in the triple digits.
Never got any triple digits with one single model.
Correct.
That's outstanding. If we're talking about a send-off, this to me looks like a rocket ship send-off.
Yeah, this is a very special car. I mean, they all are, right? But
Of course.
the CTR3 was something that we developed out of that 997 generation. It is the most powerful car we've ever produced at 800 horsepower. It is a PDK transmission that is developed off the 918 PDK. It really comes together to make this supercar-esque vehicle for the individual that doesn't want something that's rear engine. They don't want that sort of 911 styling. They want something that is more unique, more special, and much more aggressive when it comes to top speed per se.
Well, I'm happy to see where the future of Ruf is going, if this is it, which is just incredible.
Yeah.
We've looked at the classic cars. We've talked about how those cars appeal to the classic enthusiast, the collector, and the driver. And to see that evolution into this future, well, it seems like you're taking all the best pieces and you're bringing that forward.
Yes. It really goes to show just the prowess of our engineering and our expertise in making something bespoke as well.